Welcome to the Wave.
All right, let's check out where we left off with our bass tracks. Okay, good. Awesome, we've got a nice blend. Let's give it a listen. We want to make sure to take note of anything that might sound weird or need to be re-leveled. Then we also want to be looking at our master fader output. We're still good. We're coming in right at -6 dB. If we start to come in above that, we'll make use of our sub faders and lower the whole mix. We're also going to add a mix group once all of our instruments and vocals are pulled into the session. With that being said, it looks like we've got a decent bass and drum mix going on. We're going to move on down here and start messing around with the guitar tracks. Let's go ahead and just cut them all on. Oh yeah, a lot going on there. First thing we want to do is gain stage. All right, that track is coming in right around -12, so we are going to give it a bit of a boost. All right, coming in at -6. Let's move on to the next one. Same thing. Good there. Moving on to the next one. Good to go. Down the line. There we go. And the last guitar track. All right, I just checked it out, and it looks like we do have all of our guitar tracks in here. I think there may be a little bit of space right here, but we're going to have to figure that out. So let's organize first. We've already gain staged everything. We're good to go there. This is going to be a lead. Let's bring that down below the rhythms. We definitely want to work with the rhythms first. We've got a rhythm lead. Okay, these are both going to come up, and our lead is going to be on the very bottom. Let's see if we can figure out where all this is supposed to come in. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is cut this lead track off. You know what? I'm actually going to have to solo these out. I don't know if they're already panned, and I need to check into that. So let's see what we got here. That one doesn't sound like it's panned. That one doesn't sound like it's panned. Okay, great. I am going to bring our mix window down here for just a second. We're going to go hard left on the left rhythm track, hard right on the right rhythm track. Get that out of our way. Now we need to try to make sure that these are in the right place. Let's see what note. Okay, that might be right, but let's try to get some basic leveling going on. Okay, it sounds like that is in the right place. So we are going to get it pulled into the mix where we can hear it just above everything else. All right, that's pretty good for now. Let's go ahead and group our rhythm guitar tracks. Create a group, make it our nice dark orange. We will call it Rhythm Guitars. We want to bring an EQ out to this bad boy. Then we want to make sure we add an EQ to our lead. I'm pretty sure when we get to it, these are going to need to be grouped. So we'll go ahead and rename this Rhythm Lead. Change our color and add an EQ. All right, let's make sure they all took. We've got one on the lead guitar, we've got one on rhythm lead, and we've got one on our rhythm guitars. Awesome. All right, let's add an EQ to our guitar sub as a whole. Okay, so we've got our kick drum down below 100. We've got some other things going on down there. We've definitely got bass tones below 100. The first thing we're going to do is set a hard high-pass filter on our guitar sub, the whole sub, right around like 110 hertz or so. There is still a slight taper here. That's good right there. Let's make sure we're going the way we want to. Oh yeah, the filter's working. And honestly, you can already hear where the guitars are tightened up a little bit. I'm gonna open this filter up and close it so that you can hear the difference with it on and off. Nice. It looks like there was already a high-pass filter put on, and we're just taking a little more out. Awesome. So let's take a couple of things into account here. The first thing that we know is that we've got a vocal hotspot right around 1K. So I'm going to solo the guitar group out. Just the rhythm guitars here. We're going to take a tiny cut right around the 1K mark, but we want to listen for what we think sounds good. So let's start here. We are soloed out. Let's get our guitar sub EQ pulled back up. Let's listen. Okay, as I was sweeping, everything right in this general area was really starting to make that tone sound nice and tight and really good. So we're going to listen again, but I'm going to really focus on this area. I'm going to find a spot where I think the guitar tone sounds the best with the cut implemented, and then I'm going to raise it up just a little bit. We don't want to take a whole lot out yet. Our main aim here is to create some space for the vocal tracks. I think that is a good spot right there. Okay, one thing that we could do now that we've got the guitar sub set up as a whole, we can come down to our rhythm sub, give it another listen because it's still soloed out, and we can make any extra tone manipulation moves that we might want to make. So let's give it a listen and see if anything sounds good. All right, I'm not hearing anything that I necessarily want to accentuate, but I am hearing things that I want to remove. So let's do a sweep across the top. We'll stop when we get to some nastiness and we'll cut it on out of there. I'm just feeling like there's a little bit of extra muddiness right around here. Where are we at? 495. I'm going to tighten this up. I don't want to take a whole lot out here. Overall, I think the guitars sound pretty good. But I do hear a slight amount of nasty in here that I want to take out just to clean it up. Go that extra step above and beyond. Okay, cool deal. That sounds good. The next thing that we're going to do, and get ready because we're about to kind of dive right into editing, we're going to start tightening up these guitar tracks so that they align with all of the drum hits. They mesh with the bass. And now this is that point where we may even start taking parts of the bass track and making sure that they are exactly or a few milliseconds off of the grid mark or the slice. So let's give it a listen, see what we got here as far as when the guitars come in. Just make sure we're not soloed. All right, one thing that we did not do, and I'm hearing it right off the bat, we had a basic leveling mix of our two rhythm guitars before we started processing them. We need to gain stage those plugins because now that we've made those cuts in the EQ, they're a lot quieter in the mix. So let's solo them back out. Come over here. There's a very big change in volume there when the plugin is on versus when it's off. So we're going to raise the volume a few dB. Give it another listen. We're a little loud. Okay, that's pretty close. Let's go ahead and unsolo that. Give the whole track a listen. I'm going to go ahead and just be adjusting volume as we listen here on the mix window. All right, I really want that beginning part to be at a specific volume. So I'm going to focus on that, and I'm actually going to go ahead and set a little loop. Re-highlight my two tracks up here. You can see them highlighting as I'm hitting them up top. Okay, that's a little loud. I'm going to bring it down a little bit, but we do want them to be a little bit loud for processing. Let's cut the loop off. All right, now we're starting to sound good. Here's what we're going to do. Let's get a quick time check. Oh yeah, we've got, so I'm shooting for between 30 and 45 minutes on these. We're at about 20 minutes or right before, so we've got plenty of time. I'm just going to start editing these guitar tracks, talking my way through it, and when we get to about the 30-minute mark, I'll start wrapping it up, and I'll complete the rest of the editing off camera and in another session so that we can move on to synth and vocals on episode 5. All right, let's begin. When you start to focus on editing, one of the first things you want to do is get a nice big waveform to look at. So here we've got the waveforms, our left and right rhythm guitars. I'm noticing quite a few spots where there are some spaces, and this is where we're going to start. So we're going to get zoomed in here. That looks great. And it looks like these guitars versus the bass, where it was a few milliseconds forward, are right on the money here. So we are going to come up after we're done and edit the bass track so that the bass and the guitars are hitting at the same time. And we're going to base it on the guitar track because they are hitting with the kick and the snare drum already. Okay, the first thing that we want to take care of here, in this riff, it goes dun 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 dun. There's a slight pause right here. In the two guitar tracks, in pause areas like that, this is where you're going to hear string scrapes, you're going to hear pick clicks, you're going to hear everything that you want to be silent coming through the pickups on those guitars, especially with direct-in recordings. So we're going to come here, listen a few times. Okay, so what we're looking for is where the guitars pick back up after that brief moment of silence. And where that is on both tracks is right here. Now you can see that one track is a little bit, and I mean just a tiny bit, further ahead than this other track, than the right side track down here. But that's okay because of what we're about to do. We want to highlight both of these. You can hit Shift and click again and it'll highlight both of them. Command E to separate them. We want to listen back. Okay, we are definitely in the right spot. We're going to zoom in here. We're going to pull off 2 slices. Then we're going to listen. Oh yeah, we still got some to come off. Let's pull it on back to here. Okay, and I can see it right here. So where this waveform starts to diminish on both of these tracks, that's where the real pause is meant to start. You can even see where you start getting unwanted noise right at the end of this track right here and this one. So they're very well timed. All the stuff is happening at the same time, which is great. This will make it really easy to edit. Let's give it a listen with our new pause spot. Oh yeah, that's it for sure. Okay, before we start manipulating this and feathering this in, we want to make sure that when we come back in, we're not clicking, we're not popping, and the timing is still right. There is a method to this madness. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to zoom in so that we get more slices that we can snap to. We're going to pull off 1 on each track. Then we're going to add, and look at this too. We can really, once we zoom in, we can really see just how close these tracks are. These little differences in each take of the rhythm guitars is what is going to give us that true stereo sound and feel though. It's a lot different. It's not the same when you duplicate a track without adding extra processing to the second track and then panning left and right. You're still just going to hear everything right up the middle. So a little side note there. But what we want to do is we want to start placing fades all the way up until the point where we have active waveform. And then one of the things I really love about Ableton is they give you this secondary middle node right here. We're going to slide that up to, okay, we're starting to crunch the waveform right there. But that's as much as we've got, and it's right at the beginning. So we're going to leave that there. This one we're going to bring to what we know is the true starting point, which is right here, because it's got a little bit of waveform before the starting point. And then we're just going to squeeze that a little bit. We don't want it to be identical, but we do want it a little closer to that starting point. So let's give it a listen and make sure we're just going to put some temporary fade outs here so we don't get a phantom pop. But we want to make sure that all of our stuff is free from clicks and pops. Okay, good. We definitely need to work on this one right here, but I think when we come back in, we're sounding good. Oh yeah. All right, next thing we're gonna fix up is the end of this. And this is where that tiny pause is before these guitars come back in right here. And we're gonna keep doing this all the way down until we get a full set of 4 bars that we know repeats or 2 bars that we know repeats. Once we get those and we get them edited, we can do whatever we want to at the end as far as processing and automating effects, but we want to make sure that each part of the song that sounds identical to that part of the song all sounds the same, or at least humanized and the same, and that it's edited properly and there are no timing issues. So let's go ahead and start feathering in these fade outs right here on these 2 tracks. What we're trying to get out of there is right at the very end. Before this stops and this comes back in, there's a ch, and you can hear it. This is it right here. It's right here where it starts coming back down. And it's just either the guitarist's hand or the pick hitting the string. Something's going on there. And it's not completely silent in that pause. So we're going to bring the fade back over. We can already tell that it got that upward or that ascending part of the waveform where I think the click is or the scrape is. So let's come down here and do the same thing and give it another listen. All right, we still have little pieces of scrape. Some of it, and what I'm going to try right now, might be on this. So let's take a tiny bit more out of that and give another listen. Oh yeah, okay, I still have the scrapes. What we're gonna do is move the fade outs in a little bit more on these 2 tracks. So let's go ahead and take them back here to the line, and we can manipulate this if it's too much. But I'm almost thinking now that it's the fatty part of these waveforms we're wanting to keep and then have this taper off very quickly, but slow enough as to not click or pop. Oh yeah, we're getting closer now. Okay, I can tell that it's definitely happening before this. Take these in a little further. All right, we've almost got it. So I'm going to start maneuvering these little middle nodes here. Tiny bit more. All right, we got it. I'm gonna back off, just make sure we're not cutting off something that's too short. That can also be a problem. Okay, let's listen to the whole thing. Still no clicks. It's sounding a little short to me. So I'm going to back off of these until I start hearing that click again. Still okay. Okay, I think I hear the clicks starting to come back in, so I'm just going to barely pop that up. Barely pop that one up. Let's give it another listen, and then we will move on. That sounds great. It ends a lot closer to where we want it to. If we need to come in here and start stealing pieces of the waveform to lengthen it later, we definitely can. But I think we're good. We eliminated that scrape. and we're ending and beginning where we want to. Oh yeah, great. Let's move on to the next one. It's gonna be like right in here. All right, so it's gonna be dun dun, pause, dugga dugga. We want to, it's gonna be in here, and I'm trying to look for where the drums are coming in so I know where we want to take the space. It looks like, and it sounds like, the second dun, the dun dun, is right here. Boom, dun, 3.4, dun. And that is also the snare hit. And then we know that they come back in, dun, right there. Okay, so let's start with just two. We're gonna take this for right now, but we can put it back in when we stretch it out later. Right now, we're trying to find the stop and start point so we can clean this up. Okay, that is actually really close. I was really thinking we were going to be coming up to here, but let's listen to that again. Okay, this is working out really good. Without any fades, there aren't any audible clicks or pops. However, this is one of those steps that gets skipped a lot, and then people want to wonder where the sauce is for their mixes. Let's make sure that even if we don't perceive to be hearing something, that we go by the book on things like this, and let's put our fades in. All right, I'm going to bring it all the way. Because I thought we were going to take out to here anyway, I'm going to bring that fade in a nice healthy amount right here. Let's just listen this way too. Okay, too short. Bringing them back out. Good. Now, because we know that this is supposed to be hitting right here, where the kick drum comes in, and I can hear it, but let's go ahead and just show everyone as well. All right, here's our kick. Boom. 13-4-3. 13-4-3. So let's give ourselves a little bit of space and eliminate any potential clicks or pops. Both of these started a little early. So we don't have any problem bringing the fade right up to 13-4-3 and then squeezing it just to leave a little bit before the slice there. Same up here, and let's give it a listen. All right, that one sounds good. Moving on to the next one. Okay, we've got a digga-digga-dunk pause. Okay, this is going to be our area right here. It goes digga-digga-dunk right here. After that dunk, we've got a pause until the next set right here. So let's do exactly what we did last time. Let's take out 2, give it a listen. Okay, we can take out one more, I think, here. If not, if this sounds too short, we're going to be messing with fades a little bit. It sounds a little nasty at the end. I think that's where we want it. And let's go ahead and put a little bit of a fade in. I think maybe even bring the fades in a lot more. And just so we don't get a real cheesy, nasty fade out sound, we do want to tighten them up. This particular part in the song isn't meant to fade out gradually, but we do want to prevent clicks and pops, and we also want to make sure it stops at the right time. That sounds a little quick. Let's back it off some. That's sounding a lot better. However, I'm hearing a bit of a hum at the end, and I wish I could take a little more, so I'm going to start really inching and centimetering and milliseconding this thing in. I think it's on the right side. That made it a little quick. Let's take one back and one forward on the left. Oh, that actually did it. Okay, great. Now over to our re-entry point. We want to go ahead and zoom in. Check both waveforms out. All right, we know we're coming in on the 4-1-3. So let's back off one, put our fade in, squeeze it a little bit. Oh, got to zoom in. 4-1-3, yep, so let's take it up to there. Then let's back this off and do the same thing. Nice, let's give it a listen. Okay, we see some clear timing issues, one, and then space here. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a little note. Hit Command S to save so that all these edits we've made don't get lost in the sauce. All right, we're coming up on 30 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is find where this particular guitar loop that we're editing ends, and let's make it to that point. Okay, this is the point where the rhythmic progression starts over. That da-da-da-da-da, same as this. However, we are going to have to edit this section separately because there is a change in pitch for the guitar notes. Listen. The first one is dun-dun-dun-dun, dugga-dugga-dun, dugga-dugga-dun, and the second one is dun-dun-dun-dun, dugga-dugga-dun, dugga-dugga-dun. But it seems like they swing back and forth, so once I do get done editing up until around this point, we will be able to use these sections in other places. But let's go ahead and get this last part done here. Okay, we got another one right here. Digga-digga-dun, pause, dun-dun-dun-dun. Comes back in here. So let's take two. Put our fades in. I definitely hear clicks and pops. Let's see if we can dial it in without taking any more off. Come in here. Bring a tiny bit out. Perfect. Our waveform stops here and not after, which is great. Squeeze it in. Squeeze that one in. Let's give it a listen and start dialing these back. Okay, so in this particular one, I feel like this right side rhythm guitar is a little sloppy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen over here for an identical part that maybe I can replace it with. Okay. It's going to be this one. So I'm going to remove that. Option click here. Make sure that we still line up where we need to be. We do, and there's something else interesting. Let's go ahead and do this as well. And listen. Lot better. Perfect. And it looks like the last one we need to do is dial this fade in. So let's go ahead and handle this part. Fades in here, squeeze it nice and tight. Let's make that a little bit more neat. And let's squeeze some of that off as well. Nice. Thumps with the kick drum sounds really good. Okay, we know this one ends right here, so we can probably cut all of this off. Yep, and let's go ahead and put fades into here. Give it a listen. Actually sounds pretty good, but we do want to take a tiny squeeze just so we're not having any lingering fade outs. Okay, and let's listen to this whole part here. Clean this up. Zoom in. Put our fade in so we don't have clicks or pops. Then clean up the rest of this. We'll give it a final listen and a final balance, and we will wrap it up. Actually, the mix is sounding okay too. I do want to check and make sure that we're not coming in above -6. All right, we are. So let me pull the mix window down here. And let's collapse our groups. Awesome. Highlight them all. And bring it down until we are right around -6. Okay, that's going to do it for today, everybody. Thank you for joining, and don't forget to catch us next time.